Hi, my name is Selassie Fugar, and today we're going to be talking about data usage in Bailey's Crossroads with my colleagues Freddie Lopez and Reagan Wills. In terms of the background of Colmore and the issue at hand, Bailey's Colmore is an area that's located in Fairfax County, Virginia. Colmore is a racially and ethnically diverse community that represents people from all over the world. Bailey's Crossroad is home to many individuals who reside in the US without legal documents, and they're among the most disadvantaged communities in Northern Virginia. Our team is researching on ways that different community-based organizations use data to advance their mission in terms of uplifting Bailey's Colmore. To date, the community hasn't really come together to share certain sources of data. There's also been no mapping in terms of data sources that can help people collaborate together. We interviewed multiple organizations that serve different needs, organizations such as faith-based groups, legal and nonprofits, as well as health clinics. In terms of perception of data and how data plays a role in organizations, they play a role through grants, launching campaigns, how frequently people visit their organizations, or transitioning from paper filing to using computer-based systems. In terms of what data is considered in their organization, they consider quantitative to be more important than qualitative. Others use data for tracking purposes of purchasing decisions, and some meet the demand of the population that visits their organization in terms of providing people with what they actually need. In terms of looking at major trends of health and relying in data to predict their next steps.
To expand on what my colleague Celeste said, the extent to which organizations in Bailey Colmore use data could be divided into three different levels. Organizations in the basic level, their data was very general. They purposely collected as little information as possible, and they only saw data as trackable, collected for the purpose of tracking amount of services given and clients reach, saying that they only use data for assessment, and they did reports maybe once or twice a year. Organizations at the intermediate level, their data was still general, but they also saw data as informational, meaning that it provided insight that helped inform decisions of operations, and as reportable, able to demonstrate impact of services provided to donors and higher ups. They also collected data externally from outside sources, and they ran reports multiple times a year, from 2 to 3 times a year. And they also use data for strategic planning, meaning that they used it to plan ahead and identify gaps in services. Organizations in the advanced level, their data was much more detailed due to the nature of services that they provided. They collected as much data as possible. And they also collected data very carefully with protocols in place for methods of collection and analysis. They also ran assessments multiple times a year, some organizations stating that they ran reports every month. And they also used data for innovation. So the data was what drove changes in operations and services.
So some obstacles that we saw consistently throughout our interviews. One of the big things was underfunding in these nonprofits, which they're nonprofits. So it can become difficult for data collection utilization when there's not enough money there. There are grant applications, but they go through cycles. It is a possibility for funding, but sometimes the amount it can't sustain a nonprofit, and a lot of times nonprofits will go out of business. There is a necessity for a data analyst for utilizing the data post collection. People are needed that are educated in this field. However, those people typically have jobs, and they can only volunteer a few hours out of their week. And a lot of times it takes a lot to collect data in the area, as it's constantly changing. People are constantly moving in and out, and we're constantly seeing changes in what would be considered data. It can also be difficult to collect this data due to different issues such as illiteracy in the area, distrust with the system, and cultural differences as well.
When we asked organizations what they would like to see to address the obstacles previously mentioned, they mentioned that they would like to see some experts and consultants to inform them on how to better collect data and how to better analyze data. They also would like to see some technical assistance regarding how to tap into the power of the softwares that they currently use, or what software to use. All organizations mentioned they would really love to see a centralized location of data resources. They all expressed concern about how it was difficult and time consuming to research data sources, but having a centralized location could alleviate this issue. Regarding approaches, they really wanted to see proactive approaches where they utilize data to not only figure out what was wrong in the region, but how to stop issues in the region before they even happen. They wanted to have more collaborative approaches, expressing that organizations in the area could do a better job of working with one another and exchanging resources in regards to data, since they all serve the same region. And they also wanted to see intersectional approaches to complex issues.
So as we've seen and as we've shown, having proper and thorough data collection and utilization in the area, it would better assist to understanding the needs of the community and how we can best provide those needs to the people in the community. This project and this data presented, it's a part of a larger place-based initiative with Kaiser Permanente in order to improve the conditions and social determinants of health in the area. The findings that we presented and other findings as well will be used to provide recommendations on how this initiative can bring the community vision to life.